How awesome was Valkyria Chronicles? The narrative, the characters, the setting, the strategic gameplay, such an incredible experience. Because of this, throw the word Valkyria in front of anything and I would buy it. It seems that developers, MediaVision, knew this. They stuck the word Revolution on the end and marketed it as their next hit in the Valkyria series. Naturally, I bought it. Surprisingly, I was a tad disappointed, and by tad, I mean a lot. Just about the only similarity to this powerhouse prequel is the wartime setting. Everything else is brand spanking new, and most of it fails miserably. Okay, Valkyria Revolution isn't the worst game ever created, it just kind of exists. Kind of like a C-grade student doing only what it has to, cruising through high school. Maybe I wouldn't be so hard on it if my expectations weren't so high. I don't know. But anyway, here's what it's all about. Many years ago, there was a war between Jutland and the mighty Rusi Empire. Jutland ended up victorious, but as history would have it, the entire war, one that cost the lives of many, was started due to the selfish acts of 5 citizens of Jutland. Those 5 would be known for eternity as the traitors. The story focuses on the true story of these 5 traitors and how they use their positions of power to manipulate everything to start a war for their own personal reasons. The events of the game are told many years later by a teacher to a student who was writing a paper on the traitors. The story itself is okay, but I feel it's not nearly as good as others make it out to be. I did find the whole flashback delivery quite interesting and was mildly engaged through this chapter-based narrative, even if some of the cutscenes and dialogue seemed unnecessarily long. You play the role of one of the traitors, Amlet, who is the commander of his unit. The other playable characters make up the remainder of this squad and are all available from the get-go. The squad is big, but I never once wanted to experiment with different characters due to the huge time investment required to make them stronger. I mean, to increase a character's stats, you have to use magical items called Ragnite, which can only really be obtained by killing enemies in battle. In fact, the only real advantage of using multiple characters was that it unlocked additional story scenes to flesh them out, which I guess is a decent incentive, but not enough for me. I didn't care enough about them. Development-wise, these characters are quite hit and miss. Some are interesting and play decent roles in the plot, while others, they just seem to act unnatural. Speaking of unnatural, get this. Now, I'm your average heterosexual bloke and I'm not entirely opposed to the female breast, but wowee! What is going on here? How is this even possible? How, at no point during the development cycle, did any member of staff say, okay fellas, we've had our fun, let's get back to work? I mean, come on, it looks like her chest is pregnant, with twins. The single biggest disappointment with Valkyria Revolution is the gameplay. It is nothing like its prequels. You basically rock up to a battlefield in groups of 4, taking on enemies in an action hack and slash kind of style. One thing that really got to me was that one tab of X will unleash 3 attacks. Even if an enemy has a tiny bit of health, you just keep on swinging. Very little thought has been put into this aspect of the game. There really needed to be a focus on more control and customization of your physical attacks. When you're not slashing away, you can unleash Ragnite abilities, which is like magic. This is the best way to clear out groups of enemies. Aside from this, there is very little to think about. There are guns that you can equip and upgrade, but this just seems like the developers added it because they felt they had to. The same goes with the cover system. You can hide behind objects, but I never, not once, felt it would help me in any way at all. It was just a stupid mechanic that got in the way of me moving around. As far as your party's AI goes, you can control one character at a time. Your 3 allies act based on the priority system. This is basically an ordered list of actions to take in battle, and there are loads of options here, which I guess is a good thing. However, I completely ignored 99% of these and only ever needed 3. Unleash melee attack, use alchemy, or focus on recovery. So the battles are all about hack and slash, but it's the way that you approach your targets that really matter, right? Sorry, but the missions lack any requirement of strategy. You are shown a large map at the start of a mission that explains where to go and the layout of everything. Should I have been planning my moves here? Who cares, you pretty much just take one route through every mission and then attack. Oh, and you're also going to get lost as the mini-map is too small to see where you're actually meant to be going, and there's no option to make the map bigger. So the strategy is attack, 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 then occasionally throw in a Ragnite move. Easy, yeah, it's actually really easy. That is, until you get to the bosses, and damn, they are incredibly frustrating. I was so close to throwing my PlayStation against a wall somewhere in the middle of either doing 0 damage to an enemy, spending an hour on a single boss battle, or dying in a single hit from an overpowerful magic spell. Damn you, big-breasted woman, damn you. Remember the good old days when there were instruction booklets inside the game cases? These were a great resource to learn more about the game. These days, however, most games provide enough in-game information to cover all bases. But what if there is no in-game explanation? This is a major problem with Valkyria Revolution. The game posed so many questions regarding its mechanics. What does this do? What does pierce mean? Ooh, a new ability, final attack up? Do I get another attack? Does my last attack do more damage? Tell me! I know what you're thinking, just check the internet. I swear, I looked high and low at the time for answers to my questions, but most of the time they were left unanswered. But I'm not blaming the internet for not explaining this game, I'm blaming the damn game for being a stupid head. Now, I've talked a lot about what this game didn't do well, but what did it do right? Well, it looks alright. They applied a nice grainy-like filter, true to the Valkyria style. Oh, and the soundtrack was good. It was actually the only redeeming quality of this game. Seriously, there were some really good tracks. To be honest, putting the music as the only positive is such a backhanded compliment. It's like writing a character reference for someone and only praising their immaculate hair. I'm going to end this here. Unless you've just skipped ahead, you've probably established that I was very disappointed with this game, especially after my hopes were so high. The complete lack of strategy required and unpolished gameplay really let this game down. What happened to those awesome strategic battles of Valkyria Chronicles? They certainly didn't show up this time around. I hate it when games hold your hand too much, but Revolution does the exact opposite. It basically throws you in the deep end and expects you to swim on your own, which you can't because you don't know what swimming means because no one ever told you. At least the music was good. In fact, my version of the game came with the soundtrack. So I'm going to go now, throw my soundtrack into my CD player and go play something better. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you liked this, hit like, subscribe and add me to Facebook. You see, I don't have many Facebook friends and I'm feeling lonely. So do it, out of the kindness of your heart. Please. See you next time.